Alrighty guys, welcome back to another LEGO set review from BrickByBrick, and today is set number 76104. This is the Hulkbuster Smash Up containing 375 pieces and retailing for $29.99 in the United States. This was one of the sets released for Avengers Infinity War, one of the 6 sets, and it's another Hulkbuster. This is the second one we've gotten at the same exact price point, so nothing crazy new here. And there's just one instruction booklet, and yeah. I did get this on clearance for $21, which wasn't the greatest deal ever, but you know, I wanted to get a Hulkbuster before it retired, so I figured this was a decent enough deal. In addition to the Hulkbuster, this time we get a side build of this Wakandan-looking cannon, but it's operated by an Outrider on the box. So, I don't know exactly what's up with that, but in the previous Hulkbuster set, the side build had been a little thing to contain the Hulk. I think this is a little bit more interesting than that. And I do think that this probably looks better. I like the dark purple Nexo shield, that's cool, and then we do have a sticker down here on the bottom. A couple of my stickers in this set, which you'll kind of see, have these lines. I don't know if it comes up on camera, but like these that line that goes through, there's like, I don't know, something weird happened to the sticker sheet in the box. Like it looked fine until you look closer in the right light. I did request a replacement for that, so we'll see. I should be able to get one, and I'll just be able to replace the several stickers that, you know, kind of got a little ruined like that, but I didn't want to delay making the review, because I figured I'd probably forget about it. But, you know, this just shoots off balls, like, you know, like you do, and you get an extra piece of ammunition, just in case you lose one, I guess. And, I mean, other than that, it is attached with 2 studs at the back, but you can pull it off the 2 studs and allow it to angle up and down, and then just if you want it to be shooting forward, you just push down on the 2 studs. That actually works really well for a you know, ability to lock it in position. Yeah, I like that. You have 2 stickers here, and just adding a little bit more of the white in there that kind of makes it look Wakandan. A little bit of gunmetal gray, and then you can just seat a figure up here, and no controls or anything for them. They just sit. And in the back here, we have a little cabinet, and inside that is the Soul Stone, which is the Infinity Stone from the set. Of course, you do get a full sprue of 4. I did take a second one off and give it to Thanos from the Avengers Compound Battle, just so that his gauntlet is getting closer to complete. But yeah, that's the whole side build. And as for the Hulkbuster itself, it's not a massive build. It feels a little bit on the smaller side for $30 in terms of height as far as mechs go. Like it feels, it's slightly larger than the typical $15 Ninjago mech, slightly taller, but it does have a little bit more bulk than typical for this size mech, which is appropriate for the Hulkbuster, but just be aware, it is a little bit smaller than you'd maybe expect, and it is a little bit smaller than what's on the box. The box kind of enlarges it a little. Not too drastically, but, you know, for a 375 piece set, this feels a little bit on the smaller side. However, you know, it definitely makes up for it in the amount of detail that we've got here. The arm is hooked up to this little trans blue thing, which kind of sticks out and looks like the back doesn't look great, but it doesn't look terrible. And this is really just the action feature. You could completely remove that if you want to, but you know, this does allow you to, say, grab an Outrider and then just shake him around a little and then throw him. It's okay, but my favorite feature about this is that the designers thought of that, and you know, in case you want to be able to just pose it normally like the other arm, which you know has a couple ball joints in there, and you can just remove this tile here, which is what allows it to spin, and you just stick it right on there, and now you can just use the ball joints like a regular arm, and there's really nothing special. Like that works really well, and that's a great, clever feature in order to be able to build in just that ability to move things around. And you could go in, if you never want to use this feature, and remove that Technic Axle entirely, and you know, just get it to lock in place. It wouldn't be too hard to mod it into just something that doesn't have this on the back, but you know, I like the ability to be able to use that feature or to be able to just ignore it. And you know, the legs here are pretty good. They're bulky. They've got the ability to move back and forth, plus the ability to flatten out on the bottom with the like there. You can't really move them like in a perfect walking pose. Like you can kind of do that, I guess, and then like that. It kind of looks running. It's kind of an exaggerated running, but still. And then you do have these 3 toes here, which can be used to angle onto the ground. And then if we angle the body one back, yeah, that kind of looks like it's running. And then, you know, if you just angle the arms back. The arms don't have a ton of forward and backwards range, like at the top here. Like you can't angle that forward and back all that much, but you can get a decent pose like that. Like that looks kind of running. And then I guess you could have the hand up so that he can shoot the blast from there. And that is a sticker right on there. Sticker here as well. And then you'd have some more stickers on the body. I'm not going to look specifically at each sticker. But, you know, all that works pretty well. The posability is expected. You know, what is expected for a mech of this size, I would say. The backs of the legs look really good. They get a good amount of detail and all there. There's some trans blue plates hidden through there just to give it a little bit of visual interest. Yeah, I mean, the appearance here is good. And then the most interesting part is how you get into the cockpit also. This is a brand new printed dome. It's different from the last one slightly, just to represent the Infinity War Hulkbuster instead of the Age of Ultron one, which are slightly different in universe. I believe they're different marks of Hulkbuster. And then you have the 2 stickers there, and these just fold out, and then you've got this little arc reactor thing in the center, which you can just push down, and you got a figure sitting inside there. The one thing that I do want to point out is that if you don't have a figure inside there, it gets a little bit difficult to get these actually in there, because you try and lock them in, and then these will fall off. You know, it's not the end of the world, and, you know, putting with a figure inside there, this will stay at the exact perfect spot for everything to close up perfectly. But, you know, without the figure being there, there is just a little bit of difficulty doing that. But, yeah, just like that, it's perfect. And just with the figure, you know, you kind of just have to get it to that spot on your own, and then don't accidentally push in on that, because then that'll be bad news. So, honestly, this Bruce Banner figure isn't the least common, and if you have the Thor Ragnarok sets, you'll have one already. So, you could honestly just leave them in there. And then you can have the head pop up. There are scenes where you see Bruce with his head sticking up out of the Hulkbuster. You could just push that all the way back, and you could also just completely pull it off and remove it. Those are all options for you. But yeah, I think that with that all closed up, like, you really can't see inside. It works really well, and I think that this is a pretty well designed thing. And I guess speaking of Bruce Banner, we'll look at him first. He's very simple, just a torso print that was designed for him. I believe they reused it for Maria Hill, right? In the Spider-Man Far From Home pack. But, you know, it's just a standard torso, and it just looks good. And his face print is new for Bruce Banner. It looks decently like Mark Ruffalo. And then he also has this Hulk Wants to Come Out face, which, that's pretty cool. And I like the hairpiece for him. It's not the most accurate for the actor, but I do just like getting that part in this color. But nothing crazy special here. And I guess while we're at it, before we look at the exclusives, we'll take a look at the Outrider. And the torso print on these guys is pretty good. The face print is pretty good as well. You'll get a bunch of these if you get all the Endgame sets. And he's in a couple of the Infinity War sets, but not all of them. And there's some good back printing on his torso and on the back of his head. And he does just have the standard neck attachment with the forearms, and those are all articulatable. But, I mean, good army building figure. So definitely not bad to get another, but it's not a draw to this set at all. But for a $30 set, this does have 2 exclusive figures, so I think that's enough of a draw in itself. This is the less interesting of the 2, Proxima Midnight. And I say less interesting, maybe you'll prefer this one, but honestly, these characters weren't super important in the movie. I think it's a little bit more desirable for me in Endgame, or after seeing Endgame. You know, it'd be nice to have all of them for that final battle, but just in Infinity War, these characters didn't really do anything for me. But, you know, it is cool to get a representation of it here, and I think the figure is really well done. I like this blue hairpiece a lot. It's a little bit bright for the movie, and the torso too. Like, both of the colors there are a little bright, but this is a nice new mold, and it does have the black painted on there pretty well. The face and the torso are both pretty decent, and she does have an alternate angry expression, as well as some good back printing on the torso, which is obscured by her hair. And her weapon is this kind of double-bladed spear thing, which looks pretty good, and for not using any new parts, is a decent representation of her weapon in the movie. And then the real big draw of the set, as far as figures go, for me, was this exclusive new Falcon figure. And they did do a previous Falcon MCU-based figure in the Civil War Crossbones $20 set. And, you know, that one was fine, and it had a brand new molded wing piece. But here they've reverted from the molded wing piece to a brick-built design. And I actually really like this. Like, I think they did a great job for, you know, using just regular Lego pieces. The stickers on here are pretty good again. You'll see on a couple of these that they have that kind of two-line damage that I was talking about. His torso print is really good, and these can articulate, so they can kind of fold in around him almost. I wish they were able to fold in fully and like shield him from the front, but this is still, you know, decent for that kind of blocking shots, which he does sometimes. And, you know, sometimes he'll wrap them around himself and roll on the ground to land. You know, it's pretty good, and you can stretch them out backwards. I like that. You can't angle them up and down, which is fine. They could have used the new bars that have the 1x2 and are able to rotate, but that would have made it a little bit less sturdy, so I'm glad they went with this. And from the back, it looks pretty alright. Less detailed because there are studs back here, but you know, I think that this still looks pretty respectable. And you do even have the Red Wing drone, which can pop off. And this is probably the weakest part of this, because this doesn't look a ton like Red Wing, but you know, for what it is, it's still decent, and he looks fine with that removed as well. But yeah, I think that overall this figure is really well done with the wingsuit. But if we just remove that, then we get to see his back torso printing and also his alternate facial expression, which that looks pretty decent for Anthony Mackie. Not too bad. And then, of course, the front facial expression has the goggles, which are definitely an important thing to get right on the character. And, you know, they did that pretty well. And I do think that this is a better face print than the Civil War version, as well as the hairpiece, I think, is a little bit more accurate. I don't know. I think that the other one was good, but this one might be slightly better. I think a mix between the two would have been ideal. Overall, I think that this set is a pretty decent lower-end price-wise set, especially, you know, in the Marvel superheroes theme. Typically, you get builds that kind of don't matter with some really good figures. Here, I think you get one really good figure. Like the Bruce Banner figure is good for what it's supposed to represent, but it's a little simple. And then you do get the two bad guys, which are kind of just army builders. Proxima is a little bit of a draw, I guess, but I think Falcon is the big figure draw here. But like, just getting a Hulkbuster is cool, and it's nice that we have another second opportunity for those who missed out on the 2015 one. I do think that, you know, having a Hulk would have been a little bit better just to, you know, have a Hulk to bust. However, Infinity War-wise, plot-wise, that's not really relevant. I do think that, you know, this is definitely overscaled for what it's supposed to be in the movie. It's probably supposed to be about this tall, like up to there. But, you know, for that, I think that it's decent. It gets the bulk and level of detail right. You know, just sacrificing the scaling a little, which I think is an acceptable compromise. I do think that this is probably maybe a little bit more accurate than the Age of Ultron one, in terms of level of bulk and scaling. It's not that much different, but I think that this slightly edges that out a little. And the side build here is okay. I think it's more visually interesting, if less movie accurate. But overall, I do think that this is a pretty good set, and I would recommend it at $30. I think 375 pieces, $30. I think you definitely get $30 worth of stuff here. Like, even if this is maybe $20 worth, the Falcon figure, I think, has some good value here, especially with the wings. Like, easily $5-6 for Falcon, and then, you know, $5 for the two figures and the one side build. That would definitely be a best-selling polybag, honestly. So, yeah, I mean, I think the value here is really good, and I do think that, you know, if you want a Hulkbuster, this is probably a good set to get, because I don't know how soon we will get another Hulkbuster in the future. So I don't know if I'd recommend, taking your chances and skipping on this one, hoping for another one in the future. I don't know if that'll happen for a while, but also the Falcon figure, I don't think we'll get a reprint of that anytime soon, with him kind of changing outfits presumably in the near future. I don't want to say any more for spoiler reasons, but hope you guys enjoyed this review. If you did, let me know in the comment section down below, and I'll see you guys all next time. Bye, everyone.